Hello and welcome to another episode of Truly Bedrock with me, Mr. Beardstone. It is crazy hot right now here in the UK, and as a result, I am probably going to be a few days late with this video. I haven't actually done any recording in the last few days, but that's not to say I haven't been busy, as you could probably tell from the intro. So one of the things we've been working on between episodes, while it's been swelteringly hot, was the Barn Bros Industrial District, and I finally got round to sorting out some storage over here. Ignore all that stuff there, that was just me offloading some rubbish, but this basically sorts out a little bit of everything. When this overflows, I am going to have somewhere where it will burn, because we don't want to be collecting loads and loads of zombie flesh and sticks and arrows and things like that, but it's nice to have a little bit, right? And I think that, they're stocking up quite well, they're doing okay. And over on this side, we've got lots of room for gunpowder, we've got almost 2 double chests already, we've got almost a double chest of bones, and this is where the iron and the ink will go once we actually build up those farms. So it's quite a simple system. Everything just gets collected by the minecart hopper there, goes into the chest, and as you just see there, the dropper will spit things out once it goes in, and they slow right down and just drop off the end here and go into the water streams below. Once they're in there, they'll just go round and round over all of these filters and eventually get sorted out. Occasionally you'll get stuff like that, which is from me offloading, and that won't go into any of these filter systems, so that will just go round a couple of times and then despawn. I've mirrored that on the other side as well, and you may notice I've slightly modified the farm here. So one thing I actually forgot to do initially was to put the dead coral on the inside. That just stops the spiders from crawling up and down. And the other thing I did was actually add these 2 channels here, because what I did notice was it wasn't happening all the time, which was very odd, but sometimes stuff was despawning just before it hit the platform. A lot of it was sort of dying halfway down because of the sort of server lag and bits we've got going on at the moment. So stuff was hitting the bottom and dying, but it was sort of rendering death about halfway down. But sometimes they were just completely disappearing and not rendering the death at all. There wasn't many, but there were a few. So what I'd done is I've added a couple of water channels just to push everything into the middle and make sure everything definitely stays within the sphere. It does of course mean stuff takes a little bit longer to die, but it overall has improved the rates. While I was over here though, I did also discover something else, because beneath the Barn Bros area sort of for the storage, we do actually have a geode, and just below that we have another geode. There's literally 2 almost next to each other. In fact, from this one, if you go inside, you can actually see directly into the other one, and yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty close. So once we hollow these out, we should have a lovely geode or crystal shard. What are they called? Amethyst shards, that's the one. We should have a pretty good amethyst shard farm down here if I can get back out. So still lots to do over here, but we will speak with Tiz at some point and, well, move into the next phase, I guess. One of which is going to be to make this look nice, but I think Tiz is going to be working on that, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he comes up with. But that is just one of the many, many things we have done in between episodes. So back over here at the city, you will notice we've got some more bits laid out, and I've done a little bit of city planning, just so I can work out exactly what it is we need to do. I've also done a bit of mining, as you can see. I just need to fortune that stash, and basically it was for the copper, but, you find other things while you're doing that. And I also went on a mission to try and find the source of why we're dropping the frames here. How is it still happening? As you can tell, I was unsuccessful. It doesn't appear to be anything actually in my city that's causing the problem. I mean, we literally removed all the chunks and it was still happening, so I really don't know at this stage. So we just added a sign instead. Welcome to the land that frames forgot. And for now, that is what this area is going to be called. Also in the city, we continued work on this building. We got an elytra pad on top, which is, I suppose it's a bit like a helipad, but for elytras, because, well, we don't have helicopters here, do we? But I also sorted out the interior. So initially we were going to make this a tourist information office, but I had a change of heart, and instead it is now the Hall of Patrons. And in here we've got statues for the different patron levels, as well as frames. I'm gradually getting different items on the walls as they let me know what they want, and we're using diamonds as placeholders, and we're using sort of white concrete blocks as placeholders for the statues that currently don't have the correct heads. But I think this is a really good use of the space. It's a great way to say thank you to the patrons and give them a permanent spot on the TB world. But that's not all. I also did some funky redstone. Look at this. Look, if I stand on that, boom! Marvellous. I'm very pleased with myself for making that. But that brings us up to the Hall of Mods. And once again, this is just to say thank you to the mods. And they've got their own statues as well. Still a couple that we don't have the heads for as yet. They have been requested, but some of them are a little bit more difficult to find than others. But that is precisely why we did a raid, because we needed Ravager heads, we needed a Vex head for downstairs as well, so we went and did a raid until we got those, which is what you saw at the start. And up the top here, that should not be there, this is going to be our sort of memory hall, I suppose. So this is where we're going to put things that happen to us throughout the series, cool items we find and so on. And yeah, this is a very cool memento of something that happened on stream. So first off, we met up with Bruno in Spawn Town and Liara as well, and Bruno had a suggestion which I was not too keen on.
No, you know what, Beardstone, 3 is a little bit too extreme. We'll just do 2, right? Silence. The silence.
No.
No, don't worry. We don't have to do 2 if you are scared, Beardstone. If you are too scared, we don't have to do it, man. If you are a chicken, it's fine. I'm not gonna judge you, man. I'm not going to go like pop, pop, or anything like that. It's fine.
Okay,
it's fine.
Cool. As long as you're not gonna do that. We then flew to a distant savannah, got ready, and started the fight without a hitch.
All right, I think I'm ready. I think.
Okay.
Wait, no, I don't have a bow here.
Oh my gosh.
You not got a bow at all?
No, I have a bow. I didn't have it in my hotbar.
Right.
Okay.
So it was useless. All right, I'm ready.
Okay, right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
As always, our aim was spot on.
Boy, we are all bad shots.
We didn't panic.
I can just spam click it, right? That should work. Uh-oh. All right, I'm fine.
And we were victorious.
You got it. We are doing a great job.
Oh.
Oh, someone died.
And all of that happened because Feisty Fosser wanted a wither skull on his statue. So yeah, we basically did lots of dangerous things because people wanted skulls. We went into a mineshaft to get the cave spider one, and yeah, we did the raids, we fought a wither. It's been very, very adventure heavy lately on stream. But if you do want to catch those things as they happen, do be sure to follow me on Twitch. There'll be a link in the description. But I think that just about brings us back up to speed on where we're at. Nope, I lied. I completely forgot. We also did lots and lots of resource gathering for some future projects, and we've got lots in these boxes as well, but we're actually starting to run out of storage in here. And that means we're probably going to have to make a start on our great big building that we're going to be doing all the storage in fairly soon. Probably not today, though. And we also had a little play with the villagers in here. And by play, I mean we found a way to zombify them. So I've actually run out of golden apples now, which is a bit of a shame. But I was getting fed up of collecting lots and lots of clay, so I basically went and got lots and lots of clay. But now they are trading for 1. So I can basically trade 1 clay for 1 quartz. And that's exactly what we've been doing. That's all done via this simple system here. So we've got a zombie down there. When we raise the lever, he will pop up and he will make Dave feel very, very sad and turn him into a zombie. And then when I flick the lever again, it just spits an arrow of harming at Dave, and then I can give him an apple. And he gets cured and he's very, very happy for a very brief period in time until I decide I need to zombify him again. But on Bedrock, that means that any villagers within 16 blocks will get better trades. And I've also put them in water as well, because they kept disconnecting from their workstations. I have no idea if that trick still works, but it seems to be so far. They've been restocking their trades. I haven't had any problems since I did it, so I guess it does still work. And that guy's just changed profession again. But he really just does not want to be a what is it? What even are you? A stonemason, that's the one. He doesn't want to be a stonemason, and I really wish he would, because, well, we've still got 2 there. We've only got 1 dude, though. What happened to my other one? Probably best we don't talk about it. So, on with today's episode. What we're actually going to be doing is messing about with villagers, but in order to do that, we're going to need somewhere to put them. So, if we look at these plans I've got laid out here, the building we're focusing on today is going to be this one here. And it's going to have a couple of purposes, really. The bottom side is actually going to be cut into 2 different buildings. This one's going to be a bit like a sort of a small bookshop type thing, just a small one that's in the bottom part of this building, because I need bigger upper floors so that I can get all the villagers up there, I can get a zombie curing system up there, and that's what we're going to be doing. I don't know what we're actually going to do with the ground floor of this building as yet, but yeah, that's not really a problem for now, is it? Thanks to the resource gathering I did while it was exceedingly hot, we should have everything we need to be able to get this building up fairly quickly. So once again, you can probably hear the music. Let's do one of those proper spinny time-lapse things. I'm just going to wait and make sure Tiz doesn't crash into me first. Nope, we're all good. Let's go. enjoyed that time lapse there, and look at this beautiful building. I'm actually really pleased with how that's come out. You may have noticed I've added a few extra bits since the time lapse as well, but we'll get to those in just a moment. But this building itself, I think, works really well. Looks like an apartment block, which is exactly what we were going for, because this is going to be our villager trading hall. If we fly a little bit further away and turn back, you'll see I've actually done a little bit more work elsewhere and around the area as well. So we put the big MB over here, the Mr. B sign, of course. Basically, the side of that building was looking very bland. The plot of land that we had down here in this corner, it just wasn't really big enough for another building. So instead, I've turned it into a small little garden. We've got a lovely tree there. We've also got some details down on the promenade, but we'll take a closer look at those in a moment. And of course, we've got a bit of graffiti. We've got the big MB sign. And around here, I've just sort of connected up all the bottom of the road to make sure it sort of sits on the cliff better, and put in a big water pipe thing because it looked a little bit bland. Overall though, I'm really starting to like the skyline from this side. We've also added an aerial and some random shapes on the sort of angled billboard we had there. That was a bit more difficult to get some signage on, but I think it works okay. And down here on the promenade, I'm really liking the view you get as you look down now. You've got these big glowing signs everywhere, especially the one with the flashing elements on there. And you may notice the frames are not quite as bad as they were. They're still not perfect, don't get me wrong, but they're not as bad as they were. And what I did was I removed all of the glowing ink signs, and it turns out they were causing a bit of a problem. But essentially, if you have a couple of signs on Bedrock that have the glowing ink thing and they are loaded, even if you're sort of not looking directly at them and they're behind a wall, it does actually affect your frame rate quite a lot. So I went round, I removed the couple that I had up here, but I actually had quite a few down in my bunker, and they were the ones causing the problem. So when I was deleting all the chunks on that lovely creative world, I didn't actually delete the bunker chunks because they're not directly under the city, and that's actually where the problem was coming from. But the good news is it's much better. It's, you know, it's still not ideal. There's still a lot going on here. I could remove more of these paintings to help improve it as well, but to be honest, I've not got many left, and I quite like the ones I do have. But for now, we need to start getting our villagers up here, and I've got a bit of a plan on how we're going to do that. So our villager trading hall, I believe, is pretty much just down here. So if we dig down, we should go directly into it, I think. Close enough. I think we're one off there, but if we go down here, there we go, look at that. And there is our villager trading hall currently. You may notice that they're all free roaming now, and that's because, guess what? They all disconnected from their things, and it was annoying. They all disconnected again, so I had to let them out, and I don't know, they're just not refreshing their trades at all now. So I think these refreshed his trade now. Okay, so as I say that, it turns out they have actually refreshed their trades, but now I don't know what workstations they're all connected to. Either way, villagers are a pain, but we do need to take 2 of these and take them up to the top, up to the new building. And not only that, I want to bring them all the way up here to the top floor, and I want to use just 2 of those villagers that we've got down there. Basically, their trades seem to be getting a bit messed up. They're not really connecting to their workstations properly, so they might be meeting an untimely end at some point fairly soon. But before we do that, what I want to do is make a villager breeder up here. So I'm going to get 2 of them up here, probably try and get them standing on this pole here. We'll block them in, we'll make sure that we can feed them, and the babies drop down into a water tunnel, and do the thing where it sort of separates them so that once they're grown up they get pulled into a separate chamber, and then that is where we will take the villagers and we'll use them to populate this hall. So we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 levels I think that we can use, because the bottom one is the ground floor. Yep, so we've got 4 floors where we can put villagers, and I do want to have lots of masons. That's definitely something I want. I don't really care so much about the librarians because that's already been covered by others, but you know, we'll see what else we get really. I mean, I probably want to get some farmers in so we can get golden carrots. It'd be nice to open a food shop in town because, well, there's not really one there yet. But beyond that, we're still going to have another couple of floors for other types of villagers that are going to be useful to us. But the stonemasons and the farmers, I think, are definitely ones we're going to want. And then on the ground floor here, which you may notice is smaller than the upstairs floors because we've actually got another building next door that's going to house something different. But this is basically just going to be storage for the items that we collect up there. So we're probably going to make this look a bit like a sort of farmer's market type thing with the stonemason. I don't really know. I've not really thought about it too much. But we will make this look like a shop down here as well, like we have with the rest of the city. And then next door, just here, we're going to have a bookshop. So once again, as I say, we're not really going to have librarians or anything like that, but we will put a bookshop in here, probably an enchanting table as well, and just make it look like a nice little shop that's sort of, you know, crammed into the corner of this building. So I think what I'm going to do is make a bubble column that will take the villagers up to the surface, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to get them onto the top floor. Okay, we have our bubble vator in place, and in theory, if I just nudge this dude in there, he should go directly to the top floor of that building, because this tube goes directly up there, and let's follow him up and make sure he gets there okay. And look at that, simple as that. So he's now here alone on the top floor, and he is going to be our first villager that we use for breeding. And, well, he's going to need a friend, so let's go get another one. There we go, in you go, into the tube, and toodles, and let's take another one just in case something goes wrong with one of the first two. Bye! Excellent. I think we'll just keep that in there for now in case we need any more in future, but for now, here you shall stay. So now I have my 3 villagers up here. I did a thing. I used my brain, and I realised I really don't want to be having this villager breeder right next to where I'm actually having my trading hall because, well, we're going to end up with a whole mess of beds, golems, villagers connecting to things they shouldn't do, and so on. But that doesn't mean we can't still make use of the water tube we've got here, because I have another plan. Although I'm sorry, it's probably too late for you guys. And that plan is simple. I'm going to make a different villager breeder about 100 blocks away. So yeah, just down there, fella. Thanks for getting in the way just as I wanted to get out of it. Right, so if we quickly run down here, what I'm going to do is put in a rail track across here so we can literally just dump them directly into the water tube. But we're actually going to breed them down the end of this tunnel, which, as you can see, is still quite far away. But yeah, that should solve the problem because this is in the middle of nowhere, 100 blocks this way. It's not really under anything that's going to cause any problems, the villagers aren't going to connect to anything, and there's plenty of space here for us to actually make the breeder. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack on with that. I'm actually going to be building a breeder that's designed by Silent Whisperer, and that's because it's nice and straightforward. So I will link to that in the description. Once we've got that all built up, I will, well, hopefully end up with loads of villagers, and we'll be able to cart them where we need them. But let's get this build going, shall we? Okay, so it looks like we've got this all working. It obviously looks very, very ugly, but they are making babies. I've only put 5 beds down there for now, but basically they're sitting in a boat. I chuck food on the slabs, they eat those, and then when a baby is created, it will basically just, there we go, fall straight through. It goes through the water, lands on the trapdoors, and then once the baby grows up, it will get pulled through into this chamber. And then once the adults even are in this chamber, I can just press this button and it will send one of the villagers all the way back to the bunker. And from there, of course, we can push it into the water tube and get them into our villager trading hall. And in theory, that should stop any potential problems, maybe. Although I think it may be worth giving them their trade and locking them in before I send them off that way. So yeah, maybe I should build a little area for that. I also want to get this place looking nice as well. It looks very horrible at the moment, and that's not what we want. We want this to look better. I really don't want that piston there. There we go. So yes, we do want this to look better. So I'm going to make this look nice. I'm going to put in a little area where we can actually give them their trades. And then I suppose I should probably automate the bit where it offloads them into the water tube as well. Well, I may have got a bit carried away, but we've made the tunnel look nice as well. Isn't that marvellous? And we're just heading back to the villager breeding chamber now. And I have made it look better than it did. I mean, it's not perfect. It still needs some better lighting. I've just got kind of a lot of torch spam going around at the moment, and we're missing the occasional block here and there. But in general, this should work quite well. And as you can see, we've got lots of babies coming in now as well, and hopefully they'll start growing up soon, and we can start nabbing them. But I can literally just press this button now, and that will send up the minecart and drop them here. And once they're here, I can start putting down the workstations, give them the job they need. When they're done, I can press the button and then send them all the way back to the main chamber. I've also got an access around the back here so I can just load up more minecarts as and when I need to, and overall this should work quite well. The actual villagers themselves are of course in that boat. They are up here. I haven't bothered decorating up here because I'm rarely going to be up here, but I have given them a stack of bread, and I'm hoping that that's going to give us enough villagers at least to get started, and we can just feed them as and when we need to get more. So as a temporary solution back here in the main chamber, when the villagers come here, they will stop right about here, and I'll be standing over here. I can just break the minecart and they'll end up standing on this square here because I've got a trapdoor there that should make sure that they don't walk out or try and go anywhere else, and then I can just nudge them into the tube, and this of course sends them directly into the building. And I'm probably going to start filling them in from the top because then, yeah, I can just sort of break down that tube as we don't need it and remove it floor by floor. But this should work quite well, and it's definitely going to solve any problems I might have had by having a breeder upstairs. That was a terrible idea. So I guess the next thing for me to do would be to sort out all the chambers up there for the villagers. I need to wait for the villagers to grow up and get their job sorted out as well. But I'm afraid that's going to have to wait for another episode, because this one's actually run a little bit longer than usual, but we've had a lot of fun, we've got a lot of stuff done, and hopefully on the next episode I will have a much more full trading hall, and hopefully we'll be able to get all the quartz we could ever need. Bye now.